Hello, friends. It's Roxanne from the Make Art Studio, and welcome. So, again, I'm going live. My second time. Super nervous. Let me adjust the camera so we can all see. There's nothing really to see, but I want to make sure that you can see my desk. So, this here is my workspace. If I can zoom back a bit, which I don't think I can do with this. Oh, I can't do it, then you know that this is really just a piece of wood that I covered with a contact paper that looks like wood. I know, crazy, because the real wood is plywood, and well, it doesn't look as good as this. So, what am I here for? I'm here to tell you guys and show you guys basically the most basic things that I use that you can use for Bible art journaling. So let's get with it. First thing I want to show you, and I know this might be redundant, is this right here. So let me just zoom out a bit. There we go. Awesome. I hope that you guys are able to see this. I'm not sure with the lighting. I'm still learning all of these things. Usually when I used to make videos for YouTube, I used to make it on another device, or I used to make it on this device and then edit it and then put it out. But that takes so long, and it's been 3 years. I'm going to try something new. I'm just going to go for it. So what is this? This is actually a small piece of plywood that I purchased, and I covered with the same contact paper. So why did I do that? Because this will be my primary workspace. I'm seeing one person there with me, and hi, I am not sure how to say hi to you or how this all works, but let's just keep going. I also got this mat. It is one of those self-healing mats that you can use to cut paper on. So if I'm using an X-Acto knife or I'm pinning things down, I can use this side of it. So one side of this board has been covered with the contact paper, just like this, that looks like wood. And the other side of it has also been covered with the contact paper that looks like wood. However, I have left a space right here, and right here I have a piece of glass. I took this glass out of a small frame that I had, so you can see it was just like this. And the reason why I have glass on here is because this is my mixing palette where I will mix my paints and stuff like that. And I took my time. The first thing I did was I stick the glass on the board, and then I covered it over and I cut the glass out. Of course, I had put a piece of white paper under the glass. And right here are Velcro. So these are Velcros where I will Velcro on some of the things and the tools that I use. So what are those things? Well, I have these little containers that have Velcro on it. So this particular one has my gold leafing. So if I can take it out. And gold leafing is that kind of light gold leafing that, you put on your artwork. And so I like to have it with me. The good thing about it is that I can take this with me, and I will show you the pad that I made that I can take with me. So this. And I also have, those pencil cases that you had as a kid? This is it. This was a Dora pencil case, but I covered the top of it with the wood because I just wanted to match. And in here has all the basic stuff that I would use. This is one of those gua sha stones that I use. And no, I'm not gua shaing. I'm actually using this to press in and smoothen out printables when I put them down. Of course, this I got for my hair. You can also use this brush. It is supposed to, the actual usage is for baby hair, you can tell, and I guess applying like a part in your hair. But again, this comes in really handy for if you want to flick paint, put some paint on there and you just move it like so. Or any sort of distress look that you may want on your paint. I do also have a pencil, a paintbrush. This is a chopstick that I use, and I'm not sure how I used it the last time, but I always find that stuff like this is really, really handy. A pair of scissors and tweezers. So these are the basics that I would, carry with me in terms of tools that I would need. And of course, for colors and stuff. Now, what's missing in here is a ruler, of course. So I need to get a small ruler to put in there, which if I looked inside of this case, I think I will be able to find myself a ruler. But let's wait on that for a minute, because I don't see a small ruler in there. We can always get ourselves a small ruler. Now, there are many other things I can put in here. For example, a little tool to make holes. Always really important and handy. And I'm always thinking of what is the bare minimum? What's the least amount of things I would need if I was on the go and I wanted to create something in my Bible or just make something. And I think this right here, minus this hole maker, is the least amount of things that I would need. Of course, there's a whole lot of other things I can carry, but this is the least amount of things. And still, maybe I can get rid of one pair of tweezer because I have 2 pairs of tweezer. There we go. Now for colors. Right now I'm using Neocolors and Distress crayons. These are watercolor distress crayons, and these are by Tim Holtz. And these are the Neocolors that I'm using. So you can see I took my colors out for spring. Yes, I know. Limiting creativity. It's really interesting. For me, it really helps me be more creative as opposed to having all the colors at my access. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I start? So for me, it's good to limit the colors and have like a color palette that I'm using as opposed to having all the colors. So I know that we are in spring 2023, and this is the color palette for spring 2023. I did my best, as best as I can, to get them here and to, get them in my my Tombos, which I also have. So I may or may not also use my Tombos. Let me show you how that is set up. That is set up in this little contraption right here. And I'll show you guys one day how I created this. Really, really simple. Basically, you just drill a hole in a sign and you just stick the markers in there. And of course, again, I limit the colors that I'm using for everything. So, I think it's kind of fun for me. It really helps me and I'm not overwhelmed. And I get to use colors that I may not always use, and because you switch the colors out every season. So that's it. So now I'm going to move this over. Let's bring this down again a bit. So this is where everything lives. My distress would live because I'm right-handed. My distress is a little bit more to the right. My paintbrushes, which are in this beautiful, beautiful cup, is on the left because I'm right-handed. And here's where I will stick down some of my containers. And you can tell that there is room for another container, but I don't think that I would need another container. Now, last but not least, I'm using paint. So of course I need liquid. I need water. This here is a really handy tool that I found while I was looking for some sort of foldable cup. This was not my original foldable cup. I was actually using a foldable shot glass that leaked on me. So I believed at Faber-Castell, I think this is the company that is selling this. I'll put the link inside of the description. I also put the Velcro here. and I press it down. Voila, there we go. Nothing is moving. I have my water, I have my paints, I have my tools, and I have some of my favorite medium, which is my gold foiling. I also have a place right here that I can use to mix paints. So with that said, I want to show you my setup for travel. It's the same thing, except it's smaller. Now, a lot of people have seen this and asked me to do a YouTube video on this. Maybe one day I will, but I will show you kind of like how I made it. So if you want to go make it yourself, it'll be really easy. All I got was 2 clipboards. Seriously. These are 2 clipboards that I purchased from a dollar store or whatever store that you can get 2 clipboards. They're not the largest ones, but they were big enough for what I wanted, and they fit in my backpack perfectly. And what I did was I got myself some hinges, and I attached the hinge to the clipboard with some small screws and with some glue, just to make sure that it does not come out. Then I covered the clipboard with contact paper. So you can see both sides are covered with contact paper. This side is covered with a pretty pattern, and the other side is covered with a turquoise sort of teal contact paper. Again, I found a really small cutting board. I don't remember the name of this thing here, but I know that you use it to cut cut stuff on. So a self-healing pad, that's what it's called. A really small one, this size, that can fit nicely at the bottom, and it has the measurements and everything. And if you look closely right here, these are little things I got from the goodness, my mind. I got these from the back of the frame. So I found these 2 little frames. I think they were 50 cents each. And you can tell already, there's 2 of them. One I used on this big one, and the other one I used here. This is also glass. And these are the frames. And these are the small, tiny screws that were in the frame that I used to screw these on. And so this is really not functional. Well, actually it is functional. It actually gives the screw a little lift so that it doesn't come out on the other end. So that's something also that you may want to think about when you're getting these screws. So that's it. It's also kind of cool. I really like it. And this here is a piece of glass and the Velcro. And of course I left a clipboard here so I can clip on some paper. How I'm going to fix this to make this better is I realized that if I'm sitting up, because this folds this way, so let's just pretend I'm just using this part and I want to do some art a little bit further down. I can't really clip, down this way. So I'm thinking to make this even better, I am going to get a piece of aluminum or something that's magnetic and put it here so that, and then I'll cover it over again with the blue contact paper, so that anywhere I put the paper, as long as I have a magnet, it'll stay down. And I think that'll work for me. Where I will store the magnet, it would be back here somewhere, because this must be able to close, and I don't want to have anything on here, that can slip off or fall off. And so let's use some of the things that I have here. The fun thing about this whole thing is I can take this container and press it into the Velcro on this. I can press this into the Velcro, and I can press this into the Velcro. Now, of course, all of my paints, when I am traveling with this, I may not use, my gold foil. Gold foiling, I think, should be kept home for me. It's just such a very loose, fragile medium that I don't want it falling somewhere in the streets in New York City. So I would leave that home. But what I could do is use my DeWint paint, and there's Velcro under here, and I just, there we go. Do you see? And you know, nothing is gonna fall off. I can take it up, I can move it, and all these different things. And here in this, I have my brush that comes with the paint, or any paint set that you want. Oh, I don't think there's Velcro on this one. There's Velcro on the others. So that's the fun thing about this, is I can, you know, I can use this on the go because it's actually made for someone on the go. The fun thing about if you are getting any sort of paint in a case is that most of the time it comes with a sort of paint mixing pad. So you may not necessarily need this, which means that you can even use this way down here and put some other tools there. Of course, if I decided to use this way on down here, it's not going to stay. It's not going to, you know, it's going to slide down if it's not on a flat surface. And I remember when I was on the beach and I was using this, it was really fun to have this stationed right here so it would not move. I thought that was really helpful. But, you know, most times I think it'll be on a flat surface, because I do also consider that there is water in here. But of course, you know, you don't fill it up with water. You just put it maybe 3/4 away. So this is it, guys. I hope that this was helpful to you in terms of knowing some of the things that I have. Oops, I forgot. Again, you know, this is a live, so if I forget it, and I'll come and tell you. I always have when I'm home. So let's move this from here, because this actually is not going to be used at home. It's a small hair dryer. No, it's not. It's a heated craft tool. So I use this. I have myself a ruler. I have myself scissors. I have myself glue. I think glue is the most used thing in my craft room. Honest to God, I think it is. Of course, there are lots of other tools that I use, but not regularly. As time progresses, I will show you guys all the other things that I use. But for now, but for now, this is it. And I'm going to do a art project, or I should say a Bible journaling entry, and you would see that this is basically what I'm using. In fact, probably using less than what I showed you. So stay tuned, because my next video, I will be journaling my Easter, one of them at least. And the printable I will be using is in the Etsy store. Let me show you what it looks like in my book, and I'll show you guys how I created this book. Give me 1 second to find it. This is what I'll be using to journal next. So when you see me again, please like, comment, ask any questions, and share my videos. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, friends. Bye.